Always jamming out.
Yeah. And we live just like that.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the full pour with the Sportaholics. Come on in, guys. Bring it in. Let's huddle up. What kind of plays we calling in the huddle this weekend, Peyton?
Oh, I'm guessing if you're the play caller, it's going to be a lot of runs to Derrick Henry.
Listen, I'm looking to go over the top. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to see some. I want to see some balls. I want to see some up top plays. I want to see some home run hits. I do expect Derrick Henry to break at least one 50 to 40 yarder, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
That could be a prop bet. I'm sure his longest rush available is out there.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm excited, man. Hey, guys, thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the full pour with the Sportaholics, man. We're going to get the show started here in a hot second. We just want to give everybody time to get in here before we get into the content. We got a full show packed for you guys, so stick around, kick your feet up. It's Friday, baby.
Yes, exactly.
Friday. We ain't got nothing to do but watch ball. I love that.
Oh, absolutely. You know us. You know how we roll.
Exactly. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and get into it, Peyton. Let's get into it, man. Guys, like I said before in the intro, man, welcome to another edition of the Full Pour with the Sportaholics. I'm the host, Russ. That right there in the other box over there is my guy, Peyton. How you feeling today, Peyton?
I am feeling excited. As the audience knows, we love this time of the year. We love playoff football. So I'm just ready to get into it. I have a bunch of notes here. I probably won't even get to all of it. I'm sure you'll do the same thing. But yeah, yes. Just super pumped. How about you, man?
Man, I am good. I'm excited. Actually, it's been a long week. We know the holidays have wrapped up, and getting back into that, regular routine has been kind of difficult. But by all means, we made it through the first week back for me. Some people haven't stopped. So I'm just excited to actually sit down and relax this weekend, and I'm just really looking forward to it, man. Other than that, I cannot complain.
100%. I feel the same way, man.
Yes, sir. But before we get into all our topics, just to look ahead, man, we have our regular segments as we always do on the full pour. We got our Would You Rather. We're going to have an in-depth breakdown of our games of the weekend, not games of the week. Games of the weekend. And on top of that, we have our Coach 'em Up segment. We have our Pick and Play segment and a lot more, man, a lot more. It's going to be fully packed, a lot of information going out to you guys, a lot of thoughts, a lot of topics. And hopefully we get some hot takes in here and those takes come true.
I was about to say, we invite the feedback as well. I'm excited to see what the other people think.
Yeah, chat box is wide open. So you guys, by all means, go ahead and jump into the chat box. Let us know exactly how you feel, what's on your mind. Are you excited for this weekend or what? It's been a while since we did this virtually, Peyton. We usually in the same room, but I'm loving it, man. I really like getting on and talking ball with you no matter where we at. We could be in different states for all I care. Like, as long as we chopping it up, I'm good.
Likewise, man. Feel the same way.
Yes, sir. If you have not already, please be sure to go ahead and follow us on all social medias at the Sportaholics. That's Instagram and X. I said all, but we are currently most active on Instagram and X right now. And we look forward to continuing the conversation with you. Right now, if you are not following us or subscribe to the channel, please do so, man. Please do so. And like I said, chat box wide open. I'll be here chopping it up with you guys from my computer. So like Peyton always says, I wear many hats. So got to do what I got to do. Yeah,
Believe that. Many hats just stacked on top of each other. It's crazy.
All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. I hope it's fun for you, as fun as it was for me putting this together. Our first segment is Would You Rather. So Peyton, would you rather have the first overall draft pick in the NFL, or would you rather lose in the conference championship game?
Can it be specific to this upcoming NFL draft with those specific players, or is it just a general question?
It's a very general question, but if it helps you to put some type of disclaimer on it, then by all means, go ahead.
I would say lose in the conference championship game. That means you've got a good enough roster to make it that far. That means you've got a good enough coach in-house. All of those things, they add up, and not one player can change, even at the most important position, the entire trajectory of a franchise. So I would say the conference championship game. What say you?
All right. So if you ask me, it does mean a bit more to make it all the way to the conference championship game. But man, would I really want to miss on getting that first overall draft pick? And I don't think the answer to that question would be yes. Like I don't think I would miss that opportunity. So I think I'm gonna ride with you here, Peyton. I didn't really think about it that much, but I'd rather go all the way to the conference championship. To lose that game is a bummer. And the reason I didn't put Super Bowl, because everybody wants to reach the pinnacle, regardless of if you win it or not. Making it to the Super Bowl is a feat within itself. And we know how hard it is to come across wins in the NFL. So, man, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and ride with you on this one. And I'm going to say I'd rather lose in the conference championship game than to have the first overall draft pick, for sure.
I was expecting a little bit of pushback, but I'm happy we agreed. Hey, one of these times I'm going to come up with the would you rather. I'm going to put you on the spot, all right?
Hey, please, by all means, I look forward to it, man. But this one I thought would be a good one because we are into the playoffs here, and we locked and loaded, man. We locked and loaded, and it's not going to stop. This is the most important time for football in the NFL, not only in the NFL, but we are in the thick of things in college football playoffs as well. But we're not touching on that too much tonight. But we did want to go ahead and move on to our next segment, which is the games of the weekend. Games of the weekend. Peyton, we have 6 games happening this weekend. Are you ready?
Does it look like I'm ready?
No, it doesn't. No. It doesn't look like you're ready at all.
Oh, well, that's not good. You don't know me well. I think we're both ready.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I will say this. This week is going to be a little bit different. Usually we pick one game from the weekend to break down, but we have a lot of things going on. Some teams that made the playoffs this year that didn't make it last year, and some teams that just continue to be as great as they always been. So let's go ahead and break that down, man. And let's start with the AFC wildcard picture with the 5 and the 4. The Chargers coming in at number 5, and the Texans coming in at number 4. Saturday night, man. I'm looking forward to that game. Chargers, they have a new head coach. And while their team didn't seem in the preseason, they didn't seem like they got any better, they found a way to make their way up into the 5 seed here. So this is a good spot for them. I think they're taking on a team that is pretty much a mirror image of what they are. With the Chargers facing the Texans, I think that they're a well-coached team and they're just gritty at the end of the day. So what are some of your thoughts on this game here?
I do think that's a great point by you in that these teams mirror each other in a sense. The biggest difference between these two teams has to come along the offensive line. Since the Chargers were able to add Joe Alt in the offseason, and the Texans have struggled to protect Stroud at times. I see a bit of a low-scoring game here, with the points I just made being that the Texans have struggled to protect Stroud. Also, the Tank Dell injury, that has been huge. I mean, the game after Tank Dell unfortunately went down, the Texans only had 2 points in that game against the Ravens, so the Chargers have a pretty good secondary. I'm looking to see what the Texans' game plan is going to be like. Do you have any other thoughts before I get into the rest of the content, or what say you? What's your read on this game so far?
Yeah, so just to your point, man, the injuries that the Texans had to withstand throughout this whole entire season, You did mention Tank Dell, and that's a huge loss, but we gotta understand that everybody's pretty much hurt at this point in time in the season, and it's just really going to be a survival of the fittest. And I think with we know Mixon has been nicked up a little bit. We know that Nico Collins has been nicked up a little bit, and even Caleb has. I'm talking about Caleb. CJ Stroud has had his nicks and bruises throughout the season. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where these teams come into play and what factors take play in this game here. So I don't want to make my prediction just yet, but if you did have anything else to add about it, I would love to hear your outview.
Yeah, for sure. So really just thinking about the game on the perimeter, because other than Nico Collins and Ladd McConkey, there aren't a ton of premier weapons in this game. And like I said, each team has a pretty good secondary. So I see both quarterbacks at times just standing there, scanning the field, not finding anyone. I will say I think the Texans' defense has been a bit susceptible to the quarterback scramble, and I think Herbert can take advantage of that. Not that CJ can't. I just think the Texans' defense is a bit more susceptible to that than the Chargers' defense for whatever reason. I'm the matchup that I'm really looking forward to seeing is how the Texans are going to guard aforementioned Ladd McConkey, because typically their best cornerback, Derek Stingley, lines up on the outside. Will he really travel into the slot and pick up McConkey? I'm not sure about that.
Hey, listen, this is the part of the game that I love the most, though, because this is why I am leaning towards the Chargers, because I love teams where they're so well coached, it doesn't matter who's on the roster, right? They're always going to be a surprise, and these are the teams that you cannot take lightly. So like you said, we've watched Ladd McConkey do his thing all season, and there's really been no telling about where this guy is going to take the team. So they have an amazing quarterback in Justin Herbert. I don't think that we even mentioned his name just yet, but that's just how well coached this team is. Defense has been playing stout all season. So with that being said, man, I am leaning a little bit towards the Chargers in this game, and I hope that it's just an exciting game. Like you said, you do anticipate this game being a low-scoring affair, but man, not that low. I don't want it to be that low. I want it to be a bit challenging in this situation.
Somewhere in that 23-20, 2017 ballpark. That's what I would guess for this one.
Yes, yeah. And please don't let it be all in the second half like we got with that playoff game we got last night with Notre Dame and Penn State, man. I almost went to sleep on that game, but I'm glad I stayed up to watch it because it got exciting. Yeah. So, but going back to the Chargers in Houston, what side are you leaning on?
I am on the Chargers with you.
Okay.
I just think ultimately Jim Harbaugh has his vice grips on this game a little more than DeMeco Ryans, although I love DeMeco Ryans as a head coach. I think Harbaugh just has a bit of an experience edge there. And again, I think in those obvious passing situations, even if nobody is open down the field, Justin Herbert's going to have, maybe even if it's just one or two scrambles that are important, picking up that key third and medium. I think that might be the difference in the game. So I'm going Chargers close. If I had to bet it, I would say Chargers money line, just because it might be that close.
I like it. I like it a lot, man. And the one thing I will say about Houston before we move on, and we talked about this a little bit off camera. While they went 10-7 last year, they also went 10-7 this year. And you cannot deny the grit that this team has, because at the end of the day, they found a way to make it work. And when you thought times would be dark in Houston, they found ways to keep pushing forward. So I do think this is going to be a very competitive game, and I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going down Saturday at 4:30, man.
Absolutely,
Saturday at 4:30. And the Texans have home field advantage, so no telling what can happen there.
Yeah, 100%, man.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next game, man. We have probably the biggest game of the weekend, if not, the biggest game of the weekend with the
Well,
Steelers.
I know it's the
versus
one
the
that
Ravens.
you're most excited for. Oh, didn't mean to cut you off, Russ, but I was just saying, I know this is probably the one you're most looking forward to. But finish your thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that the Steelers at the Ravens, there's room for teams to be, well, this team, the Steelers, to be sneaky here. You can't count out Mike Tomlin. I think we've been preaching this all season. And I'm just interested to see where this game goes. But you already know who I'm pulling for here, Peyton. You already know what I want to happen. I mentioned it in the pre-show. I'm expecting a big game from Derrick Henry. And this, like I said, this might be the biggest game of the weekend. And I got my popcorn ready. I got my Orville Redenbacher, and I'm looking forward to it, man. What's your thoughts?
So, to your point, the last time these teams met, Derrick Henry went crazy. He rushed for over 150 yards. He had his handprints all over the game. I'm going to push back here, though. I think this Steelers defense is going to key in on Derrick Henry in this spot, and I think they're going to be willing to let Lamar get loose 3, 4, maybe 5 times, because they know if Derrick Henry has a game like he had a few weeks ago in that Week 16 matchup, the Steelers really don't have a chance. And I think they have the bodies to corral him.
Yeah, so I don't mean to cut you off from your point here, but I do think that's exactly what Lamar Jackson wants, by the way. This is a guy who he's had his struggles in the playoffs, and he's looking to get over that hurdle. And this team, while they started off slow at the beginning of the year, I think this team is in a situation where they are looking to silence the critics at this point. Lamar Jackson has all the individual accolades that a quarterback could ever ask for. But by all means, this team is built to last. Now they are down one of their top tier talents going into this game. But if you ask me, I don't think that plays a major factor. They have their stout and stud of a tight end and Mark Andrews, and he's looking better than ever. They got their mammoth of a running back in the backfield, and they also have other weapons on the outside. So they got Bateman, they got all these other weapons that they can play with. So I think if you have Bateman and you have Andrews, I think those are 2 targets right there that Lamar Jackson can lean on. And not only can he lean on his receivers, but he's a weapon within himself with his legs. So let's not forget that. So go ahead and finish your thought, Peyton. I just wanted to jump in and say that I think that's what Lamar Jackson wants, for the team to lean on his shoulders.
Oh, absolutely. And I see Lamar taking advantage of that. And I'll skip a couple of points here. I think this is Lamar's game. I think this is his game where he shines. And I think it's going to come down to him being accurate down the field. And I think that's something that he has worked on vehemently throughout the offseason and throughout the regular season. And I think that's the key. I think the game really rests in his hands, because we all know that the Ravens defense has gotten a lot better since the midway point of the season. And there are a few reasons for that I won't get into. But I just look at this matchup with the Ravens defense and the Steelers offense. At times, the Steelers offense can be a bit of a one-trick pony with throwing the ball up the sideline to George Pickens. I think the Ravens defense looks to take that away. They won't be able to take it away for the entire duration of the game, but I just see a bit of an inevitable outcome here if Lamar plays his A game, which I think he will.
Yeah, man. And so I do want to say this. I'm riding with Vegas at this point. With the Ravens being a 9-point favorite, 9.5 to be exact. I think that this game, the Steelers don't have much answers for this team. Whether it's on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball, it's just really too many questions for this Mike Tomlin-led team. I think that it's just going to really be one-sided here, and I think Vegas agrees. So I'm really looking forward to watching this and seeing how powerful the Ravens can be in this wild card matchup, because if they ever have a chance to move forward in the later in the playoffs, they're gonna have to have a decent showing here in a team where they should beat and who they should beat and where they should beat them quite easily, if you ask me, Peyton.
Okay, I'm with you there. So, truth be told, I think this is the hardest game to wager of the whole weekend. So, like you just said, you like the Ravens big. If I had to play it, I think I would go that way as well. I think I could see the Ravens being up 7-8 points and then getting a turnover late, covering the spread late in the game. So, this is my stay away, but I love your play there.
And while I'm at it, man, these are two teams who, well, I did want to touch on this. Like, the Ravens got out the gate slow, but I think that with that being said, they still had an amazing display on the things that they can do and the potential that they had or have. Like, we broke this down in a few episodes during the middle of the season. They looked like they were far ahead of the field. Like, and it got to a point towards the end of the season where teams seemed like they were figuring out what the Ravens wanted to do and how to slow them down a little bit, but they still couldn't be stopped, right? So that being said, I'm looking forward to what kind of game plan they can put together. And with the Steelers going 10-7 last year and also going 10-7 this year, I really want to find out if they have that dog in them. Can they get over that middle of the pack, always making it in, but not doing enough to rise above situations. So I'm looking forward to this matchup and how it goes down. But like I said before, I don't think the Steelers have any answers for the Ravens, and that's a tough draw for them, especially in the first round.
So, final thoughts on this one. I think we see the game in a different light in a sense. I know that you said you see Lamar taking advantage. My question,
that's what he wants.
Do you still think Derek, let's say, goes over 100 yards rushing?
Yes.
That's where we disagree, but I still see the same outcome.
No, I mean, so okay, it's always 50-50, right? It can or it cannot happen. But what I will say is we've seen throughout the season that in this late third, fourth quarter, nobody really wants to tackle Derrick Henry. Like, nobody wants to tackle that, especially not these. Now you got some strong safeties over there in Pittsburgh, but by all means, those cornerbacks on the edge, I don't think that they really want to. And if Derrick Henry finds his way to the outside, it's over. It's over.
All
right. Yeah, man. Yeah.
All
right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next game. We have the Broncos, who I don't know if they snuck their way in. They were always in. They just sealed the deal by beating the Kansas City Chiefs. But they're going all the way up to Buffalo, and this game might be a cold one, but it might not be a problem for them because they also play in the cold and Colorado. So by all means, like, this is also one of those games that I think is going to be a one-sided affair, but you never know. And I want to hear your take on your guy, Sean Payton here, and what you think he has planned for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, we are again very much aligned here. My opening note for this game is saying that this game could really go one of two ways. Either it's a Bills landslide or it's a one-possession game in the end. And just to note, Sean Payton has been very good as a head coach in these types of settings in the playoffs, especially against the number. Not saying that they can win the game outright, but they're catching 9 points. So, I'm looking at that. And then the Broncos do have an edge in two key areas, being that they have the better defense in many ways. And like we just alluded to, they have the more experienced coach, but they don't have Josh Allen. And I think I'll keep it short here. I think my key to this game would be Josh Allen protecting the football and just making the right plays at the right time.
I agree.
I think if he does that, similar to the Ravens-Steelers game, which, both have large point spreads if he does his job and just doesn't force anything, I see many more ways the Bills come out victorious than the Broncos. What are some of your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Peyton, I'm glad you asked this, man. So this game right here is really as simple as this. You have a seasoned vet as the Bills in its entirety and all their playoff history, especially with quarterback Josh Allen under center or in shotgun.
Ooh.
Did everything they had to do in order to get to this point. Now, I just don't think that they have the answers to match up with what the goals are of the Buffalo Bills. I do think that they're probably in their honeymoon phase and just really excited to be there. They got a wide-eyed, very green quarterback in Bo Nix. The defense has been up and down all season. So just like with the Baltimore Ravens, I don't think that the Broncos have any answers for Buffalo in this game. Now, we do know that Buffalo can be Jekyll and Hyde at times. So we don't know what version of the Buffalo Bills will come out and play. But if we get the version of the Buffalo Bills that we think we're going to get, there's really no telling what's going to happen with the Broncos at this point. So I do, going back to your point, I do think that Josh Allen will be the key factor in this game. And I do like him to at least score one touchdown with his legs. So I think that's going to be one of those things. And I will say this, whether Josh Allen is scrambling out of the pocket to deliver the ball to a wide receiver, or if he's running it in himself, his legs are going to play a major factor in this game and keeping the chains moving from down to down.
Yeah, and just as an added bonus to your point, the Broncos play a lot of man-to-man coverage, or at least that has been their tendency throughout the season. Defensive backs turning their head away from Josh Allen. That makes his scrambling even more dangerous. So, yeah, I'm with you there. And we must have shared notes, man, because I had the same type of thought. Like, the Bills have been in this position before, and they're looking for something greater, whereas the Broncos have just arrived. So I think these are two teams on different planes. So I'm totally with you there.
I mean, by all means, like it's kind of obvious at this point. Like if you pick Peyton Manning or Tom Brady as your first round game, everybody, Vegas, your mom and them, everybody was going to pick Brady or Manning in those matchups. So this is kind of obvious at that point. And I think while Denver has room for growth, this is kind of the end all be all for the Buffalo Bills, if that makes sense.
For sure. And I'll just throw out a play for this game. I was just looking at the total. It's sitting at 47.5. I'll go under for this one. I think the Bills defense shows up and shows out, gives Bo Nix a bunch of exotic looks. And I don't think Josh Allen feels like he has to get into a shootout in this one. So it's more of a game management type of style from him. So maybe 27-16 Bills, something like that.
I'm going to disagree. I don't have a number for you here, but I think that's all Josh Allen knows is not shootout, but he's a gunslinger, and this guy is, when I say shootout, I mean he's going to go out there and do exactly what he needs to do by letting that ball go and taking control of the football game from the when the clock starts. So by all means, I think that this game, like I said before, I think this game is going to be very one-sided, especially if we get the version of Josh Allen. And honestly, it's going to be on his receiving core to show up, because we know that they've had times in the season where they really just, the ball hit them right in the face mask, and there was nothing that Josh Allen could do about it. So, yeah, that's it. That's it on my end.
All right, I got you. We can move on to the next one, which, for the record, I'm most excited about this one. What say you?
Oh, I don't know. This might be an ugly game for me, Peyton.
Oh, all right.
I don't know. I know you like both of these teams, and just to let you guys at home know what we're talking about. We're talking about the Packers versus the Eagles game. All right, the Sunday game, 4:30. Packers go to Philadelphia in order to take on the Eagles. And I'm gonna let you go ahead and lead on this, Peyton, because I want to hear your thoughts on this.
All right, man. So the first thing that comes to mind when I think about this matchup is how crisp and efficient will Jalen Hurts be out the gate? Because let's be honest, he hasn't played football in about 3 weeks.
Okay.
Now, yeah. So with that said, the Eagles' passing attack and passing offense is not as timing and rhythm based as other offenses in the NFL. It's more take your shots down the field, win one-on-ones. Jalen Hurts likes to hold the ball a little bit longer than others. So I think Jalen Hurts' absence for the past 3 weeks might not hurt this offense as much as people think. With that said, this Packers defense has quietly been one of the best in the NFL over the back half of the season. When I think about the coaching matchup, Matt LaFleur has more of a pulse on the Green Bay offense, and they like to have a balanced attack. One other note, the Eagles offense has been a little slow starting in a lot of big games. They tend to not score much in the first quarter. And I have a few more notes, but I want to hear your thoughts on, this game and what I just said.
Yeah, man. Why I say that this game is gonna be an ugly one is because I don't think that they're gonna be able to air it out much. And knowing Philadelphia, or even if they were playing at Lambeau Stadium, by all means, I said Lombardi Stadium.
Or it's Lambeau.
Lambeau, yeah, you're right. So whether they were playing there or in Philly, there could be snow. I don't know what the weather forecast is like, but it's going to be a cold game. And we know how bones tend to react when it's cold. We know how muscles are when it's tend to be cold. So this game for me is not really going to be, it's going to be one of those defensive games. And that's exactly what I'm expecting to see. So we already know that the Packers get their shine when they have the ball on the ground and they can control the clock. So with that being said, man, I just want to see a good matchup here. I don't know who I'm picking yet until you convince me to go on one side or the other, man. Like you said, we know that Hurts is injured, but so is Jordan Love. All right, so they're both banged up. And I did talk to you about this a little bit earlier, not today, but in the past, how it's very convenient that Jalen Hurts is out of concussion protocol. So we'll see what happens with that, and hopefully he is okay and ready to go. And if he is okay and ready to go, I think we're gonna get a Philly offense that can't be stopped, to be honest with you. So I think I just answered my own question there.
Okay, so similar to the Steelers-Ravens game, I think the Packers know that their only shot at winning this game is slowing down Saquon Barkley. And again, with the Steelers and with the Packers, I believe in this type of setting, they have the bodies capable of doing just that. And I think Hurts might be a little more reluctant than usual to take off running on those option plays. I know Saquon had a great season. I think this is an opportunity to be reminded that as valuable as running backs have been this year, and Russ, I can tell you know where I'm going with this. At the end of the day, a great defense is better than a one-man show at running back. So I see Jalen having to carry the brunt there in some instances. I don't see it. If Saquon has a huge game, the game's over. So I think the Packers know that, and I think their defense commits to stopping him. This is a bit of my madman pick. I'm going to take the Packers outright here.
Ooh.
Yeah. What's to you?
We have our first disagreement on this show so far, because I'm definitely rocking with Philly here. Wow. You did say if Saquon has a big game, this game is going to be over from the get-go. But I will say this. What I do know you cannot stop Saquon Barkley. You can only contain him, right? Just like with Derrick Henry. You can't really stop him. You can contain him. And everybody's going to be sitting on the edge of their chairs waiting to see what Saquon Barkley can do. And I think that's the game plan going into this. We're going to lean on the run game just so Jalen Hurts can fill out the game until he has to step up. I don't think they really want to use him unless they have to use him, and they're going to protect him as much as possible. So it's going to be a lot of quick throws, a lot of, crossing routes, so on and so forth, until maybe in the second half when if they have to take the top off the offense and air it out a little bit more. So I'm rocking with Philly on this one. I think that they have way too many weapons, and Green Bay has lost too many weapons. And like another team I mentioned before, Green Bay kind of got out the gate a little slow. Snow is crazy. A little slow. A little slow. So we know that Jordan Love has had his injuries and hurt and nicks and bruises throughout this season. And also he's another green quarterback who hasn't had much experience in the playoffs, while Hurts has had plenty of experience. And I think just like we've seen Patrick Mahomes go through the playoffs and play through injuries, Jalen Hurts is probably on the same level here. I just don't play with head injuries like that. Like I think that it would be wise of them to think about the future and protect Jalen Hurts as much as possible, which is why the ball would probably be in Saquon's hands a bit more than anticipated.
Yeah, so my final thought on this is, yes, the Christian Watson injury is a big blow for the Packers, but he has been dinged up throughout the season, and I think they've played in big games without him, so I don't think that's anything new for the Packers. And let's just not forget the Packers were the 7th seed last year, and they won a game. But, hey, Philly, they might have the best roster in the league. This is going to be a tough task. We'll finish off with this. I'm interested to see any play you have. I know you said you like Philly. They are favored by 5. Are you laying the 5?
No.
Okay.
Outright, baby.
Okay. So it's Philly money line. Okay.
I'll definitely take them outright. No, I don't like spreads.
All right. I respect it.
About me, I don't like spreads simply because there's no telling what can happen. It could be a last-second field goal at the end of the game. It could be tied going into the end of the fourth quarter, and Philly drives the ball all the way down the field and kick the field goal to win by 3. So I'm not taking that at all.
I got you.
But I will say I'm looking forward to this matchup, and it will be a tough one.
Yeah.
You know what? That 5 is looking a
little juicy.
Tasty. Yeah, it's looking a little tasty right now. Now that I think about it, man. But I'm gonna pass on that. All right,
I got you.
Another big game, man. If not, like I said, this can be also one of the biggest games of the weekend as far as competition wise. I do think that this is going to be a very close game, closer than people probably imagine. The spread on this game here is 3 points. So that goes to show you right there how close Vegas thinks that this game can be and will be. And anybody can win this ball game. So the game I'm talking about is the Sunday night game with the Commanders heading down to Florida. They're going to be right across the street from us in Tampa, taking on the Buccaneers. So I like this game, and I guess I could start it off here. There's a lot of things that stand out to me here in this game. One, the battle of the quarterbacks. This is going to be an amazing game to watch. We got 2 quarterbacks trying to prove themselves, and that's really what I love about this game so much. We got a rookie quarterback, first time in the playoffs, got a point to prove. I don't think he really carries a chip on his shoulder, but by all means, he's been making noise since day one, and I love that about him. That's your guy. I can't wait to hear your take on him. We got Baker Mayfield doing his thing. I think this is also another quarterback that has a point to prove, and he has a chip on his shoulder. All right, no telling how far they'll go in the NFC, but by all means, I think that this matchup right here is a a way to prove themselves, especially how last season went down. So with that being said, I do think that not only the quarterback play, but you got Mike Evans, very, very seasoned vet in the NFL, over 11 seasons with over 1,000 yards. Like that's a hard and complicated feat to get to within itself. And then you got Bucky Irvin doing his thing in the backfield. So, but like, there's a lot of things that I could say about both of these teams, but I think that this is going to be a really close game because both of these teams have points to prove. And not only that, but the head coach on both sides are looking to move forward in their careers as well. So, man, I just want to be a fly on the wall in both of these meetings that they're going to have tonight, talking about the game plan, talking about how they need to win and so on and so forth. I just want to be in the locker room, man. What do you think about this game, Peyton?
Very excited for this one. I hope I haven't talked about play calling too much in this episode, but I like to bring it up. But to me, the onus is on Cliff Kingsbury, the play caller for the Washington Commanders, because if the Commanders get in those third and obvious passing situations, I don't think they have a chance. As elusive as Jaden is, Todd Bowles has that defense ready to go. They're going to dial up some exotic looks that are going to be tough for a rookie quarterback to diagnose and examine in the heat of battle. So that really is the key to me. If the Commanders' defense can contain those receivers for the Buccaneers, and if their offense can stay on schedule, I think they have a shot. I do think it's a bit of an uphill battle for them considering everything. I mean, first-year coach, first-year quarterback, first-year play caller against Baker Mayfield, who has a lot of NFL experience to this point. Man, this is close to being a stay-away game for me. But at the end of the day, I do just think that the most underplayed aspect of Jaden Daniels is the fact that he is a true student of the game. There are stories about him showing up to the Commanders facility at 5:30 a.m. and being the last one to leave. I think he's as ready as he can be, and he's obviously a more dynamic athlete than Baker. I'm going to be a madman again here, and I'm going to take a big swing. I'm going to take the Commanders on the road. What say you?
We have another disagreement because I'm going with I'm going with, I don't know if I would call it father time, but I'm going with the experience here. Okay. I'm going with all the old guys in this game, in this first round of the playoffs, actually. I'm going with the experience. So I'm going to ride with the Bucks. And I'll take the 3 points. How about that?
Just to make it fun. You there.
I like it.
A little bit of head-to-head action. I like it.
And if you don't know this, but I'm keeping score here in the comment section, letting everybody know exactly what our plays are, who we're picking, and when we reconvene on Monday before the Monday night game, and we still got to get to that.
Right.
So before we reconvene before that game, we'll see where we stand on our rankings. How about that?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous for that. I'm taking these road underdogs, but hey, here I am.
Hey, what fun is it if you can't, live a little, right?
Exactly, bro. That's
and you never know. You might get some upsets, man, and it's not gonna always go the way that we expected. So I'm looking forward to it, man. But let's go ahead and move on to the last game of the first round, with the Vikings taking on the Rams in another 5-4 matchup. So first of all, I will say prayers go out to everybody that's in Los Angeles and everything that's going on over there. And I hope that everything is fine. I hope that the city will bounce back. I'm almost certain that it will bounce back. And yeah, man. So just not to bring it down too much, but I did want to share my thoughts on that and let everybody know that we're praying for them. And we hope that this football game, can bring the city together at least a little bit and build some morale for them, man. Peyton, what's your thoughts on the game? unless you have something to say about the Wildfires.
Yeah, I echo your sentiment there. Prayers out to everybody that lives out there. Obviously, tough times. And yeah, we just hope that everyone is safe as they can be. And I love that you brought that up. I appreciate you bringing that up. As far as the game goes, this is another tricky one. You know what? If you're ready to go, I'll let you start and then I'll come in after you. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so until I start talking, I don't know who I'm going for yet, but maybe I could talk myself into it here. So I will say this. The stories for me to watch is the Vikings offense, okay, and the Vikings defense. Just simply because man, this game is gonna be really, really hard because the Rams are sneaky good, right? What team was I talking about earlier? The Steelers, right? The Steelers are sneaky good. The Broncos are sneaky good, and the Rams fall under that same platform where they're sneaky good. So if the Vikings come in here and they're thinking that it's going to be all sunshine and lollipops and rainbows, then they had another thing coming because we knowing that Puka Nacua has been activated for this game. We know that they got a veteran quarterback who's been through a lot. Like this game, you know, they got Cooper Kupp doing his thing. So by all means, man, like I don't really know which side I should land on in this game. Oh man, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Would you take, I guess this is a bonus, would you rather take Stafford or would you rather take Darnold this season alone?
This season, I would still take Stafford probably because he's just been a bit more consistent because, you know, we saw the highs of Sam Darnold and then we saw the lows, especially in that season finale against the Lions.
Respect, yep.
What say you with that question?
Man, this season alone, I didn't expect for you to fire back, but I would have to agree with you, right? I didn't want to agree with you on camera, but I will agree with you. Okay, all right, you got me. All right, so I will take Stafford, but you can't discount or discredit anything that Sam Darnold has done this season. So this is really why it's so hard for me to pick this game, and I'm really interested to hear your perspective because you know I value your opinion so much, Peyton, and you can find a way to woo me in one direction. So by all means, like let me know what you got going on.
Well, hey, I hope I lead you in the right direction because I don't like butting heads with you that much. I mean, we've disagreed on 2 straight games. I want to be aligned at some point.
No, we had enough of that.
Yeah, true. I really think Kevin O'Connell, the coach of the Vikings, gets to have a bit of a showcase game here. It's a bit of a hunch. You know, I had a bunch of notes for all these other games. For this game, it's more of a gut feeling and a hunch. And I think also the opportunity for the Vikings to self-scout and bounce back in this spot after getting pummeled really by the Lions in that last game. They get to look at what went wrong. Sam Darnold gets to look in himself in the mirror and settle down a bit and stop overthrowing receivers to some extent. The big matchup that a lot of people have been talking about is the Vikings offensive line against the Rams up-and-coming defensive line, who's very young and energetic. I think Kevin O'Connell does enough to offset that and let the offensive line really help out the offensive line with his play calling. I'm just going on a hunch here. I'm taking another road underdog. Or, well, they are favored, but they're on the road. I'm going to take the Vikings in this one. What say you?
God dang it, Peyton. Oh, man. I don't like to agree with you, but I will agree with you here because while you were talking, I just figured out everything that's going on in my head, and I'm going to ride with the Vikings here. Why? Is because I think the Vikings are more deserving in this spot than the Rams are. And it's not taking anything away from the Rams, but what I will say about the Rams, I don't think that they have longevity in this season, in this postseason, right? I don't think that even if they win on Monday night, I don't think that they're gonna last much longer in this postseason. So with that being said, I do think that the Vikings have more sustainability moving forward in the postseason. So I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you. I'm gonna rock with the Vikings, not to take anything away from the Rams. And Vegas also says the same thing. They don't know who to pick because the Rams, like I said before, are just that sneaky good. This is a 2.5-point game. This game for Vegas is even tighter than the Commanders-Bucks game. So I'm gonna go with Vegas on this one, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick Minnesota to
That's
win
a
this
smart
game.
man right there. Going with Vegas. I love it.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take my 2 points as well, just because you like to make it so much fun. I'm gonna agree with you on this one, man. And I don't like that, but by all means, when you're right, Peyton.
A reluctant agreement. I hear you.
Man.
Yeah.
A gentleman's agreement at that. So
all right. I like that better.
Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and I think this is a good spot for us, Peyton. We don't really have to break down too much more. It's going to be an exciting season when it comes, an exciting postseason. But this weekend alone is going to be amazing. And with that being said, we got 3 days. It was only supposed to be 2 days, but we got 3 days of NFL football, and I love that for us.
Oh, 100%, man. So I know you're probably most looking forward to Steelers Ravens, right?
I am going to be locked in. I'm looking most forward to all of the games, to be honest with you. There's not a game on this list that I do not want to watch.
So, all right, we can end on this. I just want to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
If you had to pick one upset that could happen knowing all of the spreads, which upset pick would you go with? If you knew, well, out of all these games, there's going to be at least one, which one would you pick?
The game that we just talked about, the Rams over the Vikings. That would be number one. That would be number one, because I'll go down the list again right here, right? So I think we agree with the Chargers, right? That can be another upset with the Texans beating the Chargers just based off of, experience and so on, and development as a team. They have a nucleus that's been there for a while, right? So that can be another upset. But other than that, who knows, Peyton? But I don't see the Steelers beating the Ravens. I don't see the Broncos beating the Bills. I don't know if it would be an upset if the Packers beat the Eagles. Who knows there? Yeah. And Commanders, Bucks, that's also another toss-up game because I think those teams are very similar. So, yeah, my first thought would be the Rams. What about you?
Ooh,
don't agree with
I like that you went with the Rams. I'll go a different direction. I'm just gonna go with the Packers.
Okay. But you picked the Packers. So is that the game that you're really saying that's the upset of the week?
I think that's the upset of the week. And again, super tall task. But I think the Packers roster is being underestimated here. I think they always draft well. They do a good job of protecting Jordan Love. So everyone raves about Philly's loaded roster. I think it's a little closer than some would expect. That's how I would say it.
All right. Well, that's it, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of the Full Pour. This is the virtual version, man. We're usually in person for the Full Pour, but by all means, we got to get it however we can at this point in time in the season. And, life be lifing sometimes, but we really do appreciate you guys for sticking with us and being around and hearing us talk ball. It's going to be an amazing weekend. Peyton, I just want to hop off so you can get to your game. And I'm gonna tune in here shortly after a while. But by all means, man, I hope tonight is a great night for you and just a precursor to what great weekend I think and I am anticipating us having so far. So any final words before you go, bro?
Man, final words. First of all, appreciate you so much, Russ. Like I said, you're always wearing multiple hats, always facilitating and operating the show. So big thanks to you, and big thanks to everyone listening. And even if there weren't many live comments, feel free to comment after the show as well. We're
Yes,
looking
sir.
forward to seeing what everyone else has to think of these games because it's an exciting time. And yeah, like you said, can't wait. We have that Ohio State-Texas game coming up. So yeah, pumped for that.
Yes, sir, man. All right, man. If you have not already, please make sure you smash that like button on this video on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 8,000 subscribers on YouTube, man. So please help us out by pressing that subscribers button. If you haven't done it already, but you're watching the episode, I really don't know what you're doing, man. So please help us out. We'll be forever grateful for it. And you guys, you know, you can catch us here every week, usually around 6, 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock rock. You don't know. You never know. But please, if you don't know and you don't know what the schedule is, you can follow us on all social medias. You can find us on X. You can find us on Instagram. And we let you guys know before we go on live when we're going to go on live and what time we're going to go on live. So by all means, please, man, please help us out. And we look forward to the next time, man. And until then, stay thirsty, my Sportaholics.
Love that. Stay thirsty, everybody.
Let's do it. Have a good weekend, Peyton. See you soon, bro.
You too, bro.